Larry on the Law now. Come back for Larry's regular show Monday at 9 on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
The number again is 1-800-222-5222 if you'd like to join in. If you have an estate planning question for the next 10 minutes or so, Gary Hart of Hart, Mieras, and Morris is with us, along with Fire Captain Rick Gonez, an L.A. City firefighter. And Rick is on the board of the L.A. Firemen's Relief Association. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Our privilege.
Gary, I was driving the other day, and somebody was talking about the difference between a living will and a regular living trust, rather, and a regular will. And again, this comes up over and over and over again. So before you talk to us about what you've been doing with the firefighters, give us a primer one more time on why somebody should have a living trust as opposed to a regular will.
Sure. A living trust, of course, is the way you can avoid probate. If you just have a will, the value of your assets are over $100,000. Those assets probably are subject to that probate process.
And the probate process means what?
Well, it means you have to go to court. You have to pay probate expenses in a $500,000 estate. The expenses, just the fees in that probate process, are $26,000. Mm-hmm. In a $1 million estate, we're looking at $46,000. So there's significant reasons to avoid it. The time period to provide the benefit to your family to avoid that probate process.
And I think, Gary, I've asked you this before, but why would anybody have a will as opposed to a living trust?
Well, the answer is I don't know. Mm-hmm. If anybody who knows the difference and realizes that you can avoid probate, avoid the expense, time delay, why not have a trust? And the problem, I guess, is just people don't get around to do it. Mm-hmm. You have to take the time to do it.
Gary, you brought Rick Gonez here today. Tell us about Rick and about the work that you've been doing with the firefighters.
Yes, Rick is captain in L.A. City Fire Department, and he works on the Widows, Orphans, Disabled Firemen's Fund, or the Relief Association, it's commonly known. We really are doing some seminars for L.A. City firemen to help them prepare their legal issues so that if they pass away, and they, of course, have dangerous lives, and they're very concerned about making sure that they're ready if something happens to them. I remember back after 9/11 that suddenly we had probably double the people come into our office to do trust because suddenly people realized, hey, I might not be here forever. Mm-hmm. They live that on a daily basis. And we're trying to also get people to donate to that association, and that's Widows and Orphans Disabled Firemen's Fund. You can actually find it online under givetoahero.org, which is kind of a clever name. Captain Rick, if you would just kind of explain why it's important to firemen to have that organization, and I know you also serve on the board, and explain why it's significant to firemen.
Sure. It's important to us because we're looking out for the firefighters in general. In our organization, it is, like you said, it is a dangerous profession, and we want to make sure that the families are taken care of. That's why we have the widows and orphans in the title, because quite often, and unfortunately, we will lose one of our members in the line of duty or a duty-related death. And one of the most overlooked situations is, we don't lose a firefighter in a fire very often, but we do lose quite a few of our firefighters due to duty-related illnesses and injuries, such as cancer. Mm-hmm. We even had some of our own people respond to New York for 9/11, and there's so much speculation as to what we were exposed to when we were there. So it's things like that. We just want to make sure that the families are taken care of, the children are taken care of. If one of our firefighters passes away, the families will survive and be okay.
I'm speaking to Gary Morris of Hart, Mieras, and Morris. He is an estate planner. And Fire Captain Rick Gonez, L.A. City firefighter who's on the L.A. Firemen's Relief Association board. We're talking about the estate planning work that Gary has been doing for the firefighters. Captain, you mentioned about the dangerousness of your profession. I think a lot of people are unaware that you guys are more likely to be injured and suffered work-related illnesses than police officers are.
That's right. There's a lot of inherent dangers. Just being exposed to hazardous materials, to the products of combustion, to somebody in the back of an ambulance getting stuck with a needle. I mean, it's very common, or splashed in the eye via blood. There's a lot of risks, unseen risks, that we have to deal with and take those precautions. But we train to prevent those things, but it doesn't always come out to our benefit. Gary
Morris, why don't you tell us the kinds of services that you provide for the firefighters? What typically are the top requests for services?
Yeah, certainly. Most firemen do want to have a living trust. They need a pour-over will. They need a...
Wait, back up. What's that?
I'm sorry. A pour-over will is a will that is done when you do a living trust, and the will says, if I've left anything out of the trust, then I want it to pour over into my living trust, so the living trust divides it. Mm-hmm. But you want the distribution of everything in the trust itself. Certainly also the power of attorney documents, one for financial matters. And that is, if you become incapacitated, if you're injured, unable to make your own decisions, or in the hospital, we need somebody to be able to do that. And power of attorney for health care, for medical decisions. And those are all significant documents that really all firemen, but everybody ought to have in their estate plan. Couple of other things just to mention, that we do have a couple of seminars that are coming up that are specifically for firemen, and I'll just mention it on the air. One is in Arcadia on November 10th, and also...
It's at the Executive Factor.
Yes, in the Arcadia, actually our office building in Arcadia. And then December 1st, there's one in Burbank, and that's going to be at the Holiday Inn. And not only firemen, but any professional service people are invited, policemen, military, et cetera, are invited to come to that seminar.
The information about the seminar, you can go to larryonthelaw.com and click on Gary Morris of Hart, Mieras, and Morris. Again, these two seminars, one is on November the 10th at the Executive Factor in Arcadia. The other one is December the 1st at the Holiday Inn in Burbank. And as Gary said, the seminar is being offered to all service personnel, both local and military. That includes fire, police, medics, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, etc. And again, for information on that, just go to larryonthelaw.com and click on Gary Morris of Hart, Mieras, and Morris. Captain, when you were in your role, do you find that a lot of the firefighters just don't know anything at all about estate planning, what to do, and how to do it?
Yes, we do. In fact, through the Widows and Orphans and Disabled Firemen's Fund, we manage our own medical plan. We try to get information out to the members of our fire department, and quite often they don't know what to do or how to plan for the future. And that's why it's great that these seminars are coming up, because we're certainly trying to get the word out that you need to plan for the unforeseen. We have a dangerous profession. We try to work hard and provide for our families, and if we're not there to take care of them, we want to make sure our affairs are in order, and that's why a living trust is definitely the word that we want to get out to our members.
Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming in. Again, Gary Morris of Hart, Mieras, and Morris, Captain Rick Gonez, LA City firefighter on the board of the LA Firemen's Relief Association. And the fund is called Widows, Orphans, and Disabled Firemen's Fund. What's the email address for that again, Gary?
It's givetoahero.org. Just if I could mention
sure.
Another thing, and that is certainly we have worked with a number of charities over the years. We'd encourage if any other charity would like to have us help put on a seminar for them so that they can raise money for their charity. We're certainly open to do that. I know like Burbank St. Joseph Hospital just recently had over $1 million left to them from someone we'd written that document for them.
Wow.
So there are a lot of charities, and it makes a difference in what can happen. The other thing is we want to make sure, because there have been so many changes in the law in the last 5 years, that if you have an existing living trust, you need to update the trust, but we would be willing to give a free half-hour conference that doesn't cost anything to review your trust and tell you what improvements, if any, need to be made to your trust.
That's Gary Morris of Hart, Mieras, and Morris, State Planner. And I want to thank you, Captain, for coming in. Captain Rick Gonez. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you, Larry.
Now, call up with any kind of legal question you have at 1-800-222-5222, whatever it is, landlord, tenant, criminal, health, PI, whatever you have that you believe might warrant a lawsuit. You're being sued. You're thinking about suing. Give us a call at 1-800-222-KABC. Remember, my free legal advice is worth a lot less than what you paid for. 1-800-222-5222. Don't laugh, Gary. 1-800-222-5222. Captain, thanks a lot.